Okay, so we're going to be playing every single Pokemon game in a standard rules Nuzlocke. No, this isn't a gen lock. We're going to be playing every single Pokemon game of every single generation, and that doesn't just mean main series games. Coliseum, XD, Stadium, Mystery Dungeon, Ranger, Dash, Troze, Hey You Pikachu, every single game is going to be Nuzlocked or otherwise hard moded. The end goal? Enter a team of 6 from every single game into one massive bracket to play in a tournament under competitive conditions to crown a champion. There have been somewhere around 120 Pokemon games ever released, depending on how far you're willing to stretch the terms Pokemon and games, and I'm not going to be able to tackle them all by myself, so I've recruited an elite squad of Pokemon playing friends to tackle this challenge with me. So let's get to the first 2 runs. Pokemon Red and Green. That's right, English-speaking audience. I will be playing the Japanese-only released Pokemon Green, which would later be updated and released as Pokemon Blue in the West. I don't speak or read any Japanese, but I played these games enough times to know what to do without being able to read anything. Probably. And across from me, my friend Yarn will be playing Red in American. So the first thing I want to explain is my nicknaming method for this run. I can only type in Japanese characters, and apparently only a certain subset of those, so I raided my friend's Discord channel they used to practice Japanese for random words out of it. I hope none of them end up being bad. My trainer's name is Monster, assumedly referencing the Monster Hunter franchise, and before I can nickname my rival, my wife shouted at me from across the room to name him Wiener. So I did. Alrighty, so it's time to pick my very first starter. Well, my first starter was actually Mudkip, but we aren't that far yet. I did grab my first ever Kanto starter, Bulbasaur. I've always liked him best, but in this case it's actually a strategic choice too. No point in picking Squirtle in a gen full of free, strong water types, and Bulbasaur makes sure I can make it to the mid-game and stabilize my team, which Charmander can't guarantee. My wife then yelled at me again to name him Lettuce. Also, I had to potion during the first rival fight!
I started my day like any normal kid, by booting up my PC and grabbing a potion out of it. Or maybe I 3D printed it. Anyway, I tried to walk out into the open field behind my house, but the crazy old scientist who lives next door stopped me and gave me a salamander first. I named him Bomp. After running an errand for him, I went back out into the field and captured a bird and a rat. I called the bird Omelette and the rat Zelda Jr., after my beloved pet rat. You will never be forgotten, Zelda.
I started off with a Rattata on Route 1, then swung on over to Route 22 and caught a Nidoran female. Named Same. I also truly realized how quickly death comes for early game Pokemon here. I was inches from death on Rattata and Nidoran multiple times while training. And fuck Pidgey, dude. That thing beats them both with Gust Spam, and the level 4 Hyrule Pidgey encounters resulted in an ECW deathmatch level bout each and every time. It also turns out that Leech Seed is garbage in Gen 1, draining only 1/16th compared to 1/8th in every subsequent gen.
I skipped catching a Pokemon on Route 2 because I'm gonna try and come back later and trade for the Mr. Mime. In Viridian Forest I was able to catch a Kakuna and I named it Dew. I didn't even bother leveling up my Charmander past 10 because I figured he would be rather useless against Brock anyway, so after I leveled my Pidgey up to 14, I confidently marched right up to Brock and demanded to fight. Maybe I was a bit too confident though, because I nearly lost half my team chipping away at Brock's Geodude one hit point at a time. The Onix was actually easier because I just spammed Sand Attack until he couldn't land a hit. That's what I get for picking Charmander. Eventually Zelda Jr. came out on top though.
Imagine abusing accuracy to win. Couldn't be me.
That's called foreshadowing.
In Viridian Forest, I hit a Metapod, which would have been a Kakuna in red. If I crit this thing, I will not be sad. Ha! I trained Bulbasaur up to 13 for Bind Whip, and it one-shot its way through the entire gym, no problem whatsoever.
Boulder badge in hand, I strode off towards Mount Moon. I crossed my fingers and hoped for a Jigglypuff on Route 3, but it just wasn't meant to be. Instead, it was a Spearow who got the nickname Fromage to finish off the meme. Finally armed with the power of Omelette du Fromage, I made quick work of Mount Moon and snagged myself a Zubat named Applesauce along the way. I was hungry, give me a break.
I made it through Route 3, caught a Spearow, of course bought the Magikarp, and then caught a Zubat in Mount Moon. But I'd like to talk about the Rocket member with the illegal level 16 Raticate who had me sweating over whether I would lose Ivysaur. If it just kept spamming Hyper Fang, I'm pretty sure it would have gotten at least 2 guaranteed kills. I got lucky in between spamming potions and I managed to finish it off, but that was the first real stress I felt so far. Game Freak knows they fucked up here too, as they changed his team in every subsequent release of Kanto to be much easier. Oh, and I also picked up what I think was the Helix fossil. I was scared of Misty's bubble beaming Starmie, and I didn't want to go fight Blue yet, so I just went and grinded up the team. Misty ended up being no problem at all.
I caught another dashing young Rattata named Orville on my way to Cerulean City, and did a bit of grinding for the rival fight. Velcro didn't stand a chance against my Pidgey, but I definitely let that go to my head as I started butt-mashing my way through Nugget Bridge. Poor Omelette almost died to the second trainer from my heavy-handed use of the fast-forward button.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh no.
After that close encounter, I decided that the rest of Nugget Bridge could wait because I was definitely ready to fight Misty. You know, YOLO and whatnot. Now that my ego was all patched up, I blasted my way through the rest of Nugget Bridge and set my sights on an Abra. I switched my Zubat into the first slot so that I didn't accidentally one-shot my next catch. Well, that didn't work out too well, because I accidentally walked right in front of a trainer who immediately killed my Zubat with a Hyper Fang crit. RIP.
I made it past Nugget Bridge in Rival 3 without issue, and my eyes were set on the two 15% chances at an Abra. The first led to a Bellsprout I had no intention on Oh, okay. Oh my god. So the problem, I have a Great Ball. I need to go look up what Great Ball is, because I'm 90% sure I have one, but I'm not going to know how to read the Japanese for it. Yeah! Oh, I'm so pumped. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You did not die in vain, Applesauce. I caught Spoonboy the Abra and Bimp the unnecessary Pidgey. Bimp didn't even make it to Vermilion City before I had to sacrifice him to a trainer's Butterfree on Route 6.
I immediately switched train to Kadabra in Confusion, aka making it a legitimate Pokemon, and rescued Bill from his own shenanigans. From there I made it to Vermilion City and hopped aboard the SS Anne. Nidorina hit level 22.
I'm gonna do what's called a pro gamer move.
I big-brained by using a Moonstone and Rare Candy back-to-back so she would become a Nidoqueen with Body Slam, one of the best moves in all of Gen 1. And then I peanut-brained by not realizing that she can't learn Dig in Gen 1 for ground coverage, and I'm still very salty about that revelation. I beat the rival without any issues, got the cut HM, and hit the gym. Nidoqueen made Surge a cakewalk, and now I have the coveted Thunderbolt TM.
Ah, Vermilion City. Love the color palette, love the music. It's just a pleasant little town. I traded Fromage for a Farfetch'd because why not, and started fighting my way through the SS Anne. At some point, while kicking down people's doors and demanding to fight their animals, I realized, hey, I have an Abra. I can trade for a Mr. Mime.
No. Don't do it. Stamp.
So logically, I ditched the Anne and booked it through the Diglett Cave, where my first encounter was the 29 Doug trio. Unfortunately, in my haste, I didn't prepare for this at all. After I broke out of a few Pokeballs and started to dig, I panicked and ran away. Disappointment.
The game was trying to stop you.
Nothing is gonna stop me. Yeah, Alakazam might be one of the best Pokemon in the entire game, but is he a stereotypical 19th century French mime? Didn't think so. Friendship ended with Spoonboy. Now Marcel is my best friend. My new mime friend had already caught up in level to the rest of my party by the time I got to the rival fight. Those trades really learn fast. I just had to be wary of Raticate's Hyper Fang and I was golden. Lieutenant Surge, on the other hand, was not so easy. I lost half of my party to his Raichu and nearly lost my starter too. Maybe I needed this. I was getting a bit cocky there. I only wish Marcel could have lasted a bit longer.
So you trade away potentially the best Pokemon in the entire game for a Mr. Mime. And then the Mr. Mime died immediately.
Don't you listen to that big meanie ghost of Marcel. I would trade 100 Alakazams for my precious Clown Boy. That Raichu just got lucky is all. Anyway, I set out toward Lavender Town to mourn the losses of Marcel, Zelda Jr., and Orville at the Pokemon Tower. I gotta say, my team is definitely struggling with two of its best Pokemon out. And as an added bonus, none of them can learn Flash. I hit up 2 new routes on my way to Rock Tunnel and landed myself 2 new Spearows. Yay! Still can't learn Flash. Guess I have to blindly navigate through Rock Tunnel.
Don't you just love HMs? I began to switch train Magikarp and caught my free Diglett in Diglett Cave, got the Flash HM, the old Amber, realized Aerodactyl sucks ass in Gen 1, and moved on to the rock tunnel. This place is a goddamn nightmare. The Pokemaniac's multitude of Slowpoke were actually really scary for my team, forcing me back to the Pokemon Center more than once. But that's not even the bad part. The bad part was the hikers that stacked the back end.
Why do all of these hikers have so many self-destruct Geodudes?
There are 6 Geodude or Graveler that can self-destruct in this stupid place. 5 of those are in the final stretches, including one battle that is just 3 of them in a row. I was playing 5D chess trying to figure out how to tank one without dying, and who was worth possibly letting die to save the others. I got out without any losses, but dear god that was awful.
My team was not equipped to handle these guys. All I could do was spam Sand Attack until they used Self-Destruct and hope it missed. Somehow that strategy worked though, because I managed to make it through in one piece.
Oh, and I guess Nintendo just really didn't care about Japanese children at all. Between Electric Soldier Porygon and the attack animations in this game that later got changed for Red and Blue after they also triggered epileptic reactions. I'm not even photosensitive, but I literally had to close my eyes anytime a self-destruct went off.
I hightailed it to Celadon City, where the first thing I did was gamble, baby. That's right, I stared at a slot machine for half an hour, mashing A. Even with the fast forward button, it was still just a bad time all around. 1 out of 10, most boring casino ever. I was delirious by the time I got my hands on that Scyther. I certainly hope that Ow the Edge lasts longer than Marcel did. Did you know that Scyther can't learn any bug-type moves in Gen 1? But it can learn Hyper Beam, apparently. And it only costs exactly as much as the Scyther to get it from the game corner. Yay. You know what? I don't think I want to button mash my way through 5,000 more coins. Do you think anyone would notice if I just popped open the debugger and Divine Intervention myself some coins? No? Cool, because it never happened.
I made it to Celadon and probably stole this guy's Eevee. I also picked up some dank TMs from the girl in the department store, Ice Beam, Rock Slide, and Tri Attack. And after a bit of grinding, I hit the gym. And yeah, I didn't even take damage until Erica.
My team was still looking a bit unbalanced, so my next mission was to grab a Ghastly from Pokemon Tower. But to do that, I needed the Sylph Scope. Beedrill proved his worth against Team Rocket's poison types in the Rocket hideout. Finally, I could start to fill the hole that Marcel left when he died. I quickly ran to the Pokemon Tower and... Zelda? Is that you? Did you come back to me in ghost form because you wanted to stay by my side? Stay in this Pokeball if yes. Ha! I knew you would find a way back to me. I'll name this Ghastly Zelda the Third. Its moves are a little lacking. Let me just grab Psychic from Saffron and... Yep, Ghastly is unstoppable now. Anyway, I evolved it into a Haunter and figured it was good enough to take on Erica. After all, I had a Charmeleon. How hard could it possibly be? You would think I would have learned my lesson about being overconfident with gym leaders, but it seems I never learn. Ember couldn't take out Victory Bell fast enough, and a Poison Powder Wrap combo drained Bomp's HP, making me use my only Super Potion on her first Pokemon. Luckily, Beedrill came to the rescue again and easily wiped out the rest of her team. In celebration, I bought a round of irons for the team and Beedrilled my way through Pokemon Tower. I never expected Dew to carry me this hard through mid-game, but hey, it works.
I finally made my way to the Pokemon Tower, which Kadabra made a cakewalk, and I literally don't remember the rival fight since I did this out of order and out-leveled him.
The time has come. That's right, it's Snorlax time! Caught him first try and named him Beige. What a fine addition to our team. Let's see what we get for Route 30. Is that a Ditto? I will always cherish you, Jelly Boy, even if I never use you.
Next up, the Saffron City Gauntlet. First, I grabbed the Psychic TM, but Kadabra was only 4 levels away from learning it via level up anyway, so I started to think ahead to other users. Slowbro, Starmie, and Exeggutor were all still in play, worth saving for the opportunity. I mashed the Fighting Dojo and evolved Kadabra into Alakazam.
I made it to Fuchsia City, which means I get to roll the dice with the Safari Zone. In a bit. I have a plan for it, but for now we have to get through it without wasting our one encounter. Nothing a few repels can't solve. I forgot how to get through the Safari Zone.
How embarrassing.
Take 2. I need to throw something away to make room in my inventory for the gold teeth. I won't be needing this max revive. Get out of here, you're worthless to me. Alright, we need Zelda the Third to be a bit stronger before we take on Koga, so let's go through Sylph and hopefully evolve her one more time.
My least favorite part of Kanto. I did think of a new tactic, which was to grab my Diglett and power train him here to Dugtrio. Dugtrio speed ties Alakazam, so if I trained it all the way up to my cap of level 43, I could gamble on the speed tie to one-shot with Dig, so I began my slow switch training journey. Silph was going mostly fine, but it is a giant gauntlet, especially as I was fighting every trainer I could find along the way. Unfortunately, I had my first disaster. I left in Diglett to get extra experience against an Arbok and got crit out by Bite.
Oh no. Oh no. I used the wrong ROM. Haunter doesn't evolve by level up in this one. I guess I can open up the debugger and change his ID. There. Oh, but its stats are the same. Maybe if I level him up one more time? Perfect! Crisis averted. I don't think I'm ready for Velcro and Giovanni yet, so let's level up my new Gengar on Cycling Road. But first, it's Snorlax time again! I'm gonna be unstoppable with 2 Snorlaxes on my team. We already have Beige, so this one's gonna be named Lorge.
I retrieved Eevee and made the snap decision to go with Jolteon and feed it the Sacred Thunderbolt TM. The rest of Silph was pretty uneventful. I did take a pause to grind ahead of the rival battle here, getting Fearow to Drill Peck and evolving to Venusaur. No issues here, I got the Master Ball and the Earthquake TM, plus took the Lapras.
Wait, I need a bike to get on Cycling Road? Are you sure? If I could just... excuse me, just let me through. Pardon me, and let me get through here, and boom, my legs grew wheels. After fighting all the bikers and cue balls on Cycling Road and bringing my Pokemon to around level 40, I made it back to Fuchsia City. While we're here, we might as well fight Koga real quick. Continuing the trend of being overconfident in gyms, I put Scyther at the top of my party and almost lost him to the first trainer's Hypno. Zelda III mowed down Koga's team and used Dream Eater to make a quick snack out of Weezing's dreams of winning.
More grinding time. Gyarados to 41 for Hydro Pump, Zam to 42 to give me a chance to race Sabrina if needed. In the gym I found that Jolteon and Gyarados are both really good answers too. So Sabrina. I led Gyarados into Kadabra to one-shot with Hydro Pump and also put Mr. Mime super low, but he got to use Reflect. Oh god. I finished it off and switched to Alakazam to dodge Reflect. I have since learned that this Mr. Mime only knows Light Screen, and thus I cucked myself here. Zam still one-shot Venomoth, but the Psychic against the Alakazam only did about 1/5, and she immediately recovered. Knowing I can't race against her since enemy trainers don't use PP, I decided to opt for what I'm going to call the Yarn Strat.
Are you tired of such inconveniences as strategizing and planning ahead in your monster collecting RPG? Have you encountered a roadblock in battle and just want an easy way through? Well then let me introduce you to the Accuracy Debuff. Just apply 3 or 4 of these bad boys to the opposition and they'll be flailing on the ground with their eyes closed in no time. Score limitless cheap shots on a foe that has no chance of ever retaliating. Does not work against human trainers that know how to switch out Pokemon. Restrictions apply, results may vary.
I flashed her Zam 4 times in a row, Light Screen fell off, I went back to Gyarados for a 2-hit with Bite. Her Zam never landed a single attack. The stretch to Fuchsia is thankfully much shorter. I got the Fly HM on Route 16 and successfully caught the Snorlax without issue. I quickly decided he would be better than Nidoqueen going forward and made the swap. I then mostly soloed him through all the bikers on Route 16 to 18, and got a Doduo encounter, the ideal replacement to Fearow, and accidentally one-shot it with Snorlax. Sigh.
I made my way back up to Saffron to finish the Silph quest. Oh look, TM36. What's in here? Self-destruct? Get out of my inventory. It's rival time. Bug is super effective against Psychic, right? So I should use Beedrill against Velcro's Alakazam? That sounds reasonable. And it almost one-shotted my Beedrill. Psychic types have no weaknesses in this game. Got it. Welcome to the team, Lapras. We'll call you Splish. You now know Surf and Ice Beam, and you are level 33. Also, Zelda III annihilated the fighting dojo, and I got a Hitmonlee named Fancy Feet. You can push boulders for me. Where were we? Giovanni? Right. I think I got distracted there for a minute. Even under-leveled Splish came in clutch during the fight.
Koga's gym was an absolute breeze with almost only Snorlax as well. She soloed Koga's 2 Coughings and his Muck, and I swapped to Zam to finish the Wheezing. Easy badge number 6.
I think an electric type would really help balance out my team, so let's hit up the power plant. Of course, I fell for the old Pokeball that's actually a Voltorb, but at least I caught it first try. I'll call him Ed. Now let's just grab Thunder real fast and I'll be on my way. Time to take our 2 new Pokemon for a spin in Sabrina's gym. They're actually pretty strong. And Ed is an Electrode now, so that's cool. With Lapras, Gengar, and Electrode, Sabrina went down without too much issue. If her Alakazam had critted, however, Electrode would have definitely been one-shotted.
Alrighty. Some long routes and dungeons between here and Blaine, so let's get to it. First up is the Safari Zone to get the HMs for Surf and Strength. I Repel tricked my way to Area 2 to give myself the best chance at a positive counter, and instead I hit a Venomoth at just a 5% chance, the rarest bad outcome. And it ran. Whatever. Okay, so I overleveled a bit for this section, but I never did the Route 12 to 15 corridor from Lavender Town to Fuchsia City, so time to get that out of the way. I caught the second Snorlax as a backup and got the Super Rod. Woo! The trainers and Pokemon here aren't really interesting at all, but there are a lot of them. Back in Fuchsia finally, I stocked up on supplies and braced myself for Seafoam Island. But first, there's a chance for a new Pokemon who could make the final team here, Staryu. I got out my Super Rod and... first encounter on the coast on Route 19 was a Staryu. I caught it, but I won't be doing anything with it for now.
I also headed back to Fuchsia and oh my god, my emulator almost crashed. Scared the crap out of me. I thought I was going to have to fight Sabrina again. Anyway, I can finally get my Safari Zone encounter. I spray some Repel and walk to the top left corner of the map where I run out of steps. That's right, I leave the Safari Zone without catching anything. It's okay though, because the game still remembers which Pokemon we can encounter there. All I have to do is surf along the coast of Seafoam Island, and we can encounter Safari Zone Pokemon in a regular wild battle. Now this Rhyhorn has nowhere to run. With Smelly added to the team, we're looking pretty unstoppable now. As long as nobody dies, I think this could be the party that makes it to the Hall of Fame.
I'm actually jealous that I didn't think of that. What about the Seafoam Islands in Articuno? Legendaries are banned, but I decided to attempt to defeat all the birds, and this is the first one. My plan was to go with Snorlax, Amnesia up, and spam Surf. I got 1 Amnesia, 2 Amnesia, and then got crit by Ice Beam and lost Snorlax. Jolteon managed to kill with a few Thunderbolts after paralyzing and getting lucky and it rolling Peck every time instead of an Ice Beam. This was a really sad death, which had me quite worried, but I did manage to catch the second Snorlax, so I subbed her right in when I got to Cinnabar. I redeemed my Oma... Son of a... I tried to repel up for a Magmar encounter, but hit the 4% Muck on the first floor and actually managed to catch it. Pretty cool. I like Muck a lot, but I'm not sure it'll make it into my final team. Finished the mansion, grinded up Snorlax to a reasonable level, and swept the entire Cinnabar gym with Surfing Gyarados. The end is in sight.
I taught Rock Slide and Skull Bash to our newest recruit and made the trek to Cinnabar, where I stumbled my way through the Pokemon Mansion because I thought I remembered the layout. While there, I did a bit of grinding and picked up Blizzard to teach to my Lapras. I didn't even bother with the quizzes in Blaine's gym. I needed all the EXP I could get. Blaine himself was no match for my newly evolved Rhydon. It one-hit KO'd everything with Rock Slide. The Fire Blast TM went straight to Charizard before I even left the gym. Finally, something other than Ember. Feeling extra confident, I immediately waltzed right up to Giovanni and shoved a Lapras in his face. For once, my hubris didn't end in disaster as Splish pulled an Elsa on Giovanni's team.
I similarly beat up a bunch of swimmers and fishers between Cinnabar and Pallet, flew to Cerulean to do the power plant, Jolteon proceeded to solo Zapdos without the slightest hint of an issue, I flew to Viridian, didn't bother to train any, and we out here with 8 badges. Let's finish this game.
The time has come to put the finishing touches on our teams and take on the Elite Four. I started by distributing all the vitamins I'd found so far to my team to balance out their stats and give some extra PP to Blizzard and Fire Blast. I also taught Thunder to Ed, Earthquake to Smelly, and Toxic to Charizard. And Bomp finally learned Flamethrower at level 46. I'm so glad they changed that later. Alright, this is the home stretch. I confronted Velcro on the way to Indigo Plateau and gave my team a test run. Alright, this is the home stretch. I confronted Velcro on the way to Indigo Plateau and gave my team a test run. It started out smoothly until he brought out my arch nemesis, Alakazam. I figured that Ed would be a good matchup with his light screen and high special. Well, between Thunder's low hit rate and Alakazam recovering and critting 2 Psybeams, I'd say it could have gone better. But that was just some bad luck, right? It shouldn't happen again, right? We narrowly survived the rival fight, but I pushed on to Victory Road nonetheless. Nobody put up much of a challenge in Victory Road.
I honestly forgot about the rival battle, but I didn't end up having any issues at all. Victory Road was no problem either, but I did try to hit a Geodude or Graveler encounter one more time, and got it. Graveler appeared, I tried to paralyze it with Body Slam, and it self-destructed on turn 2. Now this was a big misplay on my part. This is my last legal encounter in the entire game, and I still have the Master Ball, and I knew it would have self-destruct. Alas, unfortunate times. Victory Road itself was easy. I just went back to heal once and killed Moltres without any issue. Next came the Elite Four prep. I decided to grab my Staryu to replace Fearow, who really contributes nothing to the Elite Four run. I didn't realize there's no move deleter in Gen 1, so all HMs are stuck. Oops. I went with Gyarados getting Blizzard, Alakazam getting Thunder Wave, Jolteon getting Thunder, Snorlax getting Earthquake and Rock Slide, which sadly meant I could not keep Rest as I taught her Surf for a meme. Venusaur got Toxic, and Starmie would get Psychic and Ice Beam. Not bad, actually. I trained them all up to the max allowed level of 65, which took a while, and I distributed my vitamins. And finally, I made a game plan, mapping out all opposing moves and what I would use to defeat each Pokemon, and then I bought a bunch of full restores. The story of Lorelei, Electric Good. Between Ed and Jolteon, she was a breeze. Let's just say Bruno has 2 Onix and 3 miscellaneous mono fighting Pokemon. I have a Venusaur and Alakazam. Yarn has a Zelda 3. Moving on.
For Agatha, I decided it was Smelly's time to shine, and he did not disappoint. He never moves first, but he hits like a train. I switched him out for the last 2 because I remembered that Dream Eater exists, but it went off without a hitch.
To me, Agatha was the scariest member by far going in. The 2 Gengars with a bunch of status moves are pretty spooky. I led Snorlax into one of them, who ate a Confuse Ray but punched through to score a KO with Earthquake. I switched to Jolteon to continue the one-shot train on Golbat, then hit Alakazam finish off the Haunter, Arbok, and score a lucky one-hit KO on Gengar. Lance, comparatively, was nothing. Jolteon one-hit KO'd Gyarados, Starmie one-tapped both Dragonairs with Ice Beam, thank you Calciums, Gyarados Hydro Pumped Aerodactyl, and then one-shot Dragonite with Blizzard.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for Lance. Unfortunately for him, his dragons are prone to hypothermia and
Splish!
doesn't know the meaning of the word mercy. After dropping the temperature of the Pokemon League a few degrees, Lance informed me that there's still one person between me and the Hall of Fame. Velcro. The fight started off well enough, with Ed landing a Thunder on Pidgeot, but tragedy struck when Alakazam confused Ed with a Psybeam, Ed punched himself in the face, and then Alakazam critted a Psychic. If only I could have predicted this. Eager to avenge her fallen ally,
Splish!
quickly disposed of Alakazam, Rhydon, and Arcanine. What an absolute legend. I sent out Bomb to set Executor on fire, and with no more electric type, Zelda III was left to take on Blastoise. Luckily, Hypnosis landed first try, and Zelda finished the run by making a quick meal out of Blastoise's delicious dreams.
Lastly, Wiener. I led Jolteon into Pidgeot, missed the first Thunder but KO'd with the second. Snorlax one-shot Alakazam with a Body Slam, Venusaur one-shot Rhydon with Razor Leaf, then came Executor. Now, initially, I expected Executor to be pretty terrifying, but apparently its only damaging moves are Barrage and Stomp, so I was in no danger. Two-shot was secured. Jolteon bolted another Gyarados like a mono-red burn player, and I let the newcomer Starmie two-shot Charizard with Surf to end the run. So those are the first 2 runs and the first 2 teams. As I'm enforcing a 6-member team for every game, one of Yarn's honorary Snorlaxes will take the place of Ed in the tournament setting. If you liked the first episode, we'd love if you hit us with the good old-fashioned like and subscribe, and comments are always fun to read, even the hateful ones. I'm planning on streaming most of the series as I go for my own sanity and accountability, so if you'd like to see the next one, I'm planning on attempting a stream this upcoming Friday at 9 p.m. Central Time. Link to that will be in the description.